part two of Jared Kushner and his relation to politics. This is part two of that reading. Okay, so part one, I was mostly touching on what's going on with Trump and the administration right now, and some of the other major storylines and themes going on with them. But now we're going to kind of get into some backstory of why this is happening. I touched on Jared being like this mastermind behind the Board of Peace and being the bridge between America and Netanyahu and all of that. But he is showing up as the tower moment. Jared is the tower. So he's going to be creating the sudden catastrophic political changes. He's responsible for a lot of that. And I know people are like, well, he's not even the president, blah, blah, blah. But his role is so important that it's responsible for the birth of what we are going to see as New Gaza, these smart AI cities. All of this has been done with the help of lobbyists and people within the electoral college. Okay, we have a controversial system here that decides its elections, but think about the lobbyists that would have been these individuals or organizations who are influencing these different figures or political or financial favors, like doing this for that, right? So this is where that came from. uh Very cut and dry. We have the hired gun and dark alliance. Okay, so individual tasked with carrying out violent acts. Now, this is what's crazy. The black nobility is here, group of powerful families believed to control global banking and politics. And then we have some networks show cancellation. This card is not supposed to be here. It's at the center of the reading. This is supposed to be in my celebrity deck, which talks about an abrupt end to a story or opportunity. So this, you know, there's something going on with like this group breaking up or them trying to keep it together for business purposes. Okay, at the center of the reading we have wildfire inferno, large scale fires often caused by natural or human made factors. Again, don't think this is talking about the wildfires, even though that somehow could be connected to this and like the grand scheme of things. I think this is more so about like the little tiny fires that have gotten ablaze now and they're picking up steam, and there's a lot that they have to do in order to put these out. So that's why we see the lawsuit avalanche, a barrage of legal challenges to destabilize powerful entities. And then we have crimes against humanity card. Now the crimes against humanity card doesn't seem that crazy because obviously if you know what's going on with Gaza and the West Bank and all that, then you already know. Cool, right. But we have two country cards that came out. We had the Ukraine card come out, which is a vocal point for European security. Um, it also has to do with Russia's territorial ambitions and ongoing conflicts. But then we also have the Afghanistan card, war torn nation at the heart of regional security issues, terrorism, and foreign military involvement. So these two cards being underneath hired gun and dark alliance and coming right after crimes against humanity tells me that all of these wars, we know this, but it's crazier to me when I see it in plain black and white. The Ukrainian war, when we went to Afghanistan, all of these things were like land grabs. Like there were global land grabs, there were ways to steal power, there were ways to destabilize economies that were, burdensome to us in some way. Um, but and it was also a way to just take advantage of other people. Now, something about that is being canceled or it's being threatened to cancel. Now, we also have something about them trying to, with this card here, search history redacted. Now, we know there's been a lot of redactions going on. This card usually comes up when there is some type of crime, but it's underneath the crimes against humanity card. So it's almost as if like trying to erase people is a way of trying to erase history, or and this goes back into that reading, the reading right before this one, where I was talking about trying to like they want to they want to make it so that people are not aware of the history of certain things and people and like events, so that it's easier to do stuff without being held accountable. Um and then there's also something about it being like creating opportunities for um like rewriting history, but it's some, I can't think of the other word for it. But that is what Jared Kushner is about. I mean, it's a little snippet. I do feel like I want to do more on him because I had to kind of break up this reading for him, but I feel like there's obviously more to explore in terms of what his ambitions are, maybe like what he personally wants to get done and why, like what are the motives for some of these things. But then I also kind of want to get into like his core values, because I'm noticing a lot of these people are so psychopathic that it's like you wonder if they are acting on personal uh ambitions and vendettas and all of that. And if so, like what is the end goal? To be, you know, this lone star leader who doesn't really have that many people to govern over, or maybe the goal is just to enslave multiple countries at once and you kind of reign like this king. I don't know what is going on with these people, but we're going to get into it a little bit more because I feel like Jared is going to play a role. He's definitely going to play a role. Okay, so we're going to see exactly what that looks like, because I have to pause right now. My puppy is doing something and she's a little too quiet. So I will see you guys in the next reading. Okay, I'm going to get into these missing persons cases, which I did not have any intention of wanting to do. But if you go to the archive, I did a reading that said missing persons case, and the title was The Letter N is Significant. Okay, I'm going to talk about that and why it's super important. And we're going to get into that missing persons case, but stay tuned for